What's going on? Boys, thanks to our patrons and Fiverr customers, subscribe to our Patreon free for behind the scenes stuff. Arm yourselves, life stuff. Now, I think people took the wrong lessons from cosmic horror. It's not about, or it's not supposed to be about spooky stuff or things from beyond the stars, things you can't understand. And the reason, or one of the reasons I think you can see people have taken the wrong lessons is in almost all, quotes, cosmic horror media, they do two things. They show you weird shit, and they also make it a difficult fight to win, but humans can win or put up a fight. Because that's what constitutes a satisfying narrative to most people. Especially in this. People act like we're in this dreadful nihilistic time, but this retarded bloomerism, this really stupid and false positivity, it's not even positivity, it's the idea of positivity, will not go away. You're a good person, you're a noble struggler, but outside your idea of yourself, you're a bit of a piece of shit, and you also can't accomplish anything. Whatever. My point, humans can win or put up a noble struggle. That's one of the reasons almost all modern cosmic horror isn't scary. It is oversaturated, but I don't think that's why it's not punching the same way. It's not hitting because it affirms the human point of view, not challenges it, or even worse or even better, undermines it totally. Acts like the human point of view is so insignificant it doesn't matter, which is the most unsettling. True cosmic horror narratives, by default, are unsatisfying. That's why, or one of the reasons why, the best cosmic horror stories from Lovecraft himself revolve around people who have brushes with the facts. It's actually pretty genius. It's almost like he should invent a genre around it or something. He's really good at it. With Lovecraft stories, with many Lovecraft stories, you get both a satisfying narrative and also this dread that comes from these brushes with the truth, which is the fact you are nothing. You are utterly powerless. Genius the way he does it. What I think the essence of cosmic horror is the undermining or the challenging of human primacy. The idea either you're on top and what you think matters, or what you think matters and maybe you'll lose, but you can at least put up a fight and noble jerk yourself off. The dread comes from realizing you can't, or in stories or situations in which you can't. That's why a game like Psycho, giantess dating sim, and I still hate that word, gives me the fucking creeps, is scarier and more unsettling than any, quotes, cosmic horror franchise or series has shit out in a long time. Because in that game, your primacy is not just challenged and undermined, but also rubbed in your face constantly. And it takes it a bit further, too, because it's not just. Well, it challenges your primacy in a few different ways, right? It's not just about whether you live or die in a game, because you do that in every game, just about, but also your inability to protect the people you care about. And that game is great because it gives you lots of characters to care about. All different sorts of people. And you can't do anything to protect any of them. In fact, you'll probably need to do some despicable things to prolong some of their lives just a little bit longer before they get crushed or eaten, not by a horror beyond your comprehension, not by something that goes bump in the night, but by a woman. Just a normal ass woman. So we've made our point about cosmic horror. And now we get into how that, whatever, if you don't want to call it cosmic horror, I don't know what else you would call it, how it interacts with size. We've said it before, but we have a better way of saying it now. I think fetishes are like majors in areas of concern in life. Because you'll notice no true degenerate is just a gooner. They usually have some complicated thoughts about their interests, and their interests and those thoughts often inform most other aspects of their lives. Or maybe most other aspects of their lives do or have impacted what their interests are. So, in all this, what is size? I think size is a concern with human primacy. Whether yours is being challenged or undermined, or you're the one challenging and undermining it in others, I think it all comes down to the question of how much or how little control a person has over their future. And fetishes are great because they aren't, well, these sorts of things, I don't think there's any one conclusive answer to any one of these major life areas or areas of concern. Rather, they're more like platforms for playing with the idea. So with size, you're dealing with the forbidden cosmic horror, mind-breaking knowledge. In the end, you don't have any say over how your life turns out. If 5 minutes from now, life decides it's time for you to die, you're dead. And I think once you're aware of that, maybe this arises from being made aware of that young, something happens to you. Or maybe, oh boy, I wonder how inherited these things are, or how genetically predisposed we are to these things. As in, maybe stuff can happen to you and that can kick it off to a higher level, but maybe some people are almost assigned these areas of concern that they'll spend the rest of their lives dealing with sexually. Either way, it becomes a fixation, and you, like a research professor, are stuck dealing with it. To what end, I don't know, because again, I don't think there's a way to solve any of these problems. You know, it gets kinda hellraisery when you start thinking about all other fetishes in this way. Like, what are bondage people wrestling with, trying to figure out? It's like we're in hell, we've been assigned to contemplate these problems. And in terms of video linguistics, I'm running into a problem here, because I realize I'm trying to talk forward like I'm getting to a solution, but there isn't one. All there is, for us, is a fascination with human primacy, or the illusion of human primacy, acted out and wrestled with in so many different ways. And probably, because this is a sexual thing, there's probably an effort to make it okay, but it doesn't solve anything, especially if you're on the crueler side of things. But with orgasm, it still seems like you're trying to put the final period on something, cross all your T's, dot all your I's. So maybe orgasm is like a snapshot. You and another person have reached a truth, and now you cap it off, burn that truth chemically into your memory. That feels like what it is, but I'm not sure. Maybe it's again, this is getting back into the mysticism shit. Maybe this is another form of studying the other from our side. Because for human primacy to be challenged and destroyed in this way, it's essentially a death thing. So maybe we're using one another to try to understand death, both as death dealer and death experiencer. And not just death, but also the process of dying. All the different ways a person can die, immediately and abruptly or over a longer period of time. All the ways a person can be broken, because that's what death is. It's an inevitable breaking. How many different ways can this process be carried out? And not just be carried out or be inflicted by a person, let's say, but more be inflicted by reality itself. Something I'm noticing about women who are into size on the giant side of things. It's seeming like a trend that they don't view themselves as individuals per se. There seems to be a pattern of their viewing themselves as avatars of something. Avatars of fear, avatars of death, avatars of destruction. It's some Four Horsemen shit. And recent events started to clinch it for me, but I went through my notes, old notes, and there seems to be something to this. Something ritualistic. And I wonder if that's the case in other fetishes. Maybe it isn't, maybe it is. Even if it is, few circles do it as stylishly and as starkly. In size, I think there are two parties. There is the smaller one, the smaller person, which operates as an individual, or if this is a play, the stand-in for people, the thing the human spirit is supposed to identify with. And then there's the larger party, which, as we said, is an avatar of a concept, and probably a scary or bad concept. So really what you're doing is you're playing cops and robbers. You are role-playing a fantastical, exaggerated version of what in fact is. And maybe we're doing that to make sense of it, or to cope with it. I have no idea, but I think that's what's going on. You know, like in old England, the allegorical plays, that's what's happening. In the end, we're monkeys. We are ritualistically, sexually performing natural processes. Anthropomorphized, or maybe this is like a God the Father and Jesus the Son thing. Maybe these avatars, these roles we play, they're anthropomorphized in an effort, or in our effort, to relate to these alien, dreadful, terrifying concepts. Because you can't make sense of a meteor. I mean, you kind of can make sense of a meteor, but you certainly can't make sense of death. But a person you can make sense of. And that's why we have the Grim Reaper. It's a personification. It's an avatar we use to make sense of it and interact with it and understand it. We know the Grim Reaper better than we know anything about the concept the Reaper represents. And that's a little unnerving to think about. Okay, I think I made my point. Don't want to ramble too much more. When I'm not performing my duties, keep me in a little box. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't. Got a new sigil. The cards told me it's time.